Hello again, and welcome back to the Football Fignuts podcast. This is season 8. Oh my God. Episode 2, episode 312 overall. I am Cinch.
I am Britt.
I am Craig.
And together we are the Three Amigos.
Good movie.
Oh God.
Good movie.
Oi. Right? Wasn't it like there was like a 3-step dance to that?
There was. It was the Macarena before the Macarena.
It really was because it really was.
Because after that movie, we all did it
God.
for like a year and a half. So
Yes. That movie, before we get started, is a freaking timeless classic. Like one of like 10 from our generation. Like the whole look up here and it's a male plane because you can see its little balls. They were shooting their pistolas in the air.
a plethora of pinatas.
Plethora. Can I just tell you, and I think I've told this story in the podcast before, so forgive me. Plethora was on my SAT in 1993.
Was it?
Yes, and it was in the opposite section, the antonyms.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like plethora, and then like the second was few, and I'm like, I don't need to read any further. I don't care what the other 3 options are. The answer's B. But anyway, I'm getting us sidetracked. It is time for our QB extravaganza, guys.
Dun 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 dun.
Cinch, are you ready?
I am ready.
Good.
I'm drinking beer.
Well, that's where we're going to start, because that's where we always start, and we'll start with Cinch. Cinch, what are you drinking tonight?
I have in front of me something from Space Cat Brewing.
Ooh, I love them.
Craig Fave.
Orion. It's a New England IPA, 6%. Tastes like beer.
Nice.
I think I've had Orion. I liked it. It was good. We still haven't gone down there. It's not that far from us. And Cinch, that's the area you work in.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm near it too. It just has, they open at 4:30 during the week. So
That's not my issue. We need to just meet down there. So I'm like the only one who's been there. Even my wife has been there.
Really?
Yeah, she had some sort of concert down there one time. She's like, I'm going early. I'm going to Space Cat. And I was like, oh.
No, fine.
Craig, what are you drinking?
Tonight I have one of your personal favorites. I have from Kent Falls Brewing, Awkward Hug.
Awkward Hug?
Yes.
Nice. Oh my God, that beer is so good, and the can art is iconic.
Yes, it's very good.
Oh, I love it. Love it. All right, I'm about to open mine. Hold on. Oh, there we go. Where's the bush?
Bush.
Thank you. I am drinking so last week I drank a can of Treehouse's green.
Oh, that's right.
And literally that's had like 4 R's, like 6 E's and 3 N's in it. I don't know why they spelled it that. Tonight, I have a can of the original green.
Ooh, that's a good one.
From Treehouse. Yeah, so I'm going to pop that open and enjoy that while we start talking about quarterbacks, guys.
It's that time of year.
As Cinch said earlier today in our chat, this is the start of the season for him. This is where it starts.
Gotta pay attention now.
Yeah. Postseason's over, kids. It's over. Sorry if you missed the memo, but it's go time. So let's start with Jesus Christ, burning hot takes. I did have a beer precast. I'm going to be honest with you. And we'll start with Cinch. Cinch, what's your burning hot take this week on quarterback week?
I would just like to say I won our championship last year.
I don't
wanted to put that out there.
I don't recall that.
What's he talking about?
I don't
what
know.
is he talking about?
I think he's drunk.
I won 2 of the leagues that you guys are in.
I think he's really drunk.
I won 3 leagues last year. That doesn't happen. If I could make the playoffs in all the leagues, that's a good. Baseball, not good. Football, okay. So my burning hot take.
Okay.
I've got to reserve my real burning hot take for once we start the rankings.
Thank you for holding off on it.
So Britt specifically said, okay, so save it. So here is my burning hot take.
Yeah, he's going to get a bonus one later.
Okay.
In the 2023 season, there were 66 quarterbacks who appeared in games.
Really?
66.
Wow.
My burning hot take is this upcoming season, there will be more than 66 that appear in games.
Craig, you want to tackle this first? You want me to go?
You can go. You can go because I was trying to do the math.
So there's 32, and that's where I'm going to go with this. So this is where Craig sits there and goes, Britt's an idiot, but he's good at math. Let me just defer here and let him do this for me. There's 32 NFL teams. So if 66 quarterbacks started, that's just over an average of 2. I'm sorry, not started, appeared, right?
Appeared in games.
Appeared in games at the quarterback position.
Yes.
So, okay, so the first thing, so an average of 2 doesn't sound like a lot to me, because good teams where their quarterback is healthy all year, yeah, they absolutely are going to use the backup once in a while. There's also, you have to consider things like wildcat formations where, Devin Singletary could end up being the quarterback on a play.
No, not that. This is actual quarterbacks.
Okay, actual quarterbacks. Right, so take that out of the equation.
And I can
you also
tell
have to consider
you that
injuries.
In the 2022 season, that number was 68.
So this was actually lower.
It was down 2 from the previous year. I think this year we get into the 70s.
And you have to also consider, like, there's teams like New Orleans. Like, what do you categorize Taysom Hill as? Is he a tight end because that's how New Orleans lists him?
He will play games, not the whole game, but he will be back there for
everything,
10, 15 snaps as the only quarterback. So I think he qualifies. He's the exception because I don't think any other team has anyone like him.
So injuries, resting, those rare exceptions, that there's probably 2 or 3 of them per year. Taysom Hill's just the easy example, right? I would say I agree with Cinch. We are moving in a direction where the quarterback position is becoming more fluid. And we're going to see, again, the Wildcat, and I'm not counting Wildcat quarterbacks when I say this, but the Wildcat, the whole idea of, I'm going to surprise you, changed a lot of how teams plan. I think every team has 1 or 2 plays in their playbook that involves their quarterback not on the field. Like Lamar Jackson, not on the field. Jordan Love, not on the field. Do they use it all the time? But if that causes that number to go up, I mean, even if it's a backup, we just pull Jordan Love and it causes chaos, and then all of a sudden we do this. Okay. So yeah, I agree with Cinch. I think 70 plus is reasonable just because of the way the league is moving. Craig, what do you think?
Well, hold on. I think you're reading it the wrong way. This isn't Travis Kelce lined up as quarterback for this play for a trick play. That's not what this is saying. This is saying actual quarterbacks.
Yes.
So
but I also believe that there's situations where teams will send in their backup quarterback to cause chaos.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. My bad.
No. I hear what you're saying. Hell, if we counted that number's probably closer to 80, right? Because everybody uses one wildcat formation. So, all right. So, Craig, what do you think? Is it going to be over 70 this year?
I can see it. I feel like, you always have to include injuries for quarterbacks. And after last year, injuries were a big thing. So I can definitely see 70 being a reachable number.
Yeah, I have to agree with Cinch. I think we're all in agreement here. I think this is the way the league is moving and the way injuries are moving, and not only just injuries in general, but how many times have we seen, we're at 15-1 going into the last week of the season and everything's locked up. So I'm going to start a backup, or I'm going to start a rookie just to get somebody out there. We see that a lot these days. So, I think 2 as an average is probably going to end up being low going forward. Is that really where you're going with this, Cinch?
That, as well as how many teams have multiple quarterbacks that we expect to actually play, not just get a start. I mean, like the Jets, I don't see any way Aaron Rodgers plays every game. So that's the Jets. The Patriots have 2 that are both going to play because they're not going to give Jacoby Brissett every start, and they're not going to give Drake May every start. So that's 2 teams right there. The Giants, Daniel Jones has had 3 bad surgeries on his neck, 3 bad injuries. I mean, I can't see him getting through a whole season.
No, they have DeVito.
And, I'm not saying it's good or bad that he won't play. I'm just saying how many teams. The Raiders have Minshew, and they have
what's his name? O'Connell.
Yes. So I'm just saying there are multiple teams that have 2 quarterbacks where it's like, it's not a quarterback controversy. It's just either one of these guys is going to play. It could be 8, 10, or however you want to split up the starts.
Right. And think about the Giants last year. Didn't they start like 4 different quarterbacks because of injuries?
Yep. And the Jets too. Well, because
Yeah.
of bad play.
Freaking Jets. Freaking New York screwing everybody's numbers up. Yeah, so to Cinch's point, one of the teams he didn't mention right there, Atlanta. They paid a ton of money for Kirk Cousins, but
They
if
drafted a
Cousins
quarterback.
struggles. Exactly. If Cousins struggles, are we going to see Michael Penix? I think we might.
If Cousins isn't ready to start camp and Penix shows up and he's taken all of the first team snaps and he's good,
They're not going to start him.
They're not going to say to Cousins, hurry up and come back. They're going to say, okay, well, you're almost there.
Week.
All right, we'll take another week. You're almost there. Take another week.
Yeah. It reminds me of the scene from Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back where they're filming Good Will Hunting 2, and the director is just off camera just counting his money. So Kirk Cousins just be on the sideline. Kirk, you okay with just resting one more week? Yep, I'm good. 200, 300, 400. So I agree. Craig, what do you got for a burning hot take this week?
For quarterback, I was going to have one, but it's more related to our rankings, so I don't really want to ask it.
Are you deferring?
I am deferring because my question, now that I think about it, my question is like too close to what we're going to talk about, so I'm going to defer.
Okay.
I didn't know you could just defer.
I just came up with that on the fly. I didn't know we could do that either, honestly. And I'll produce this thing. Yeah, I can pass. Well, go. All right, so I'll throw out 2 quick ones that are interrelated. Earlier today, Caleb Williams of the Bears signed his rookie contract. It is a 4-year, fully guaranteed $39 million deal.
Are the Mets running the Bears front office guaranteeing money?
Hey,
no,
hey,
no, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why this is not a Bobby Bonilla contract. Because the one thing he asked for that he did not get was a no tag clause in the contract. Caleb Williams asked the Bears to put it into the contract that they could not use the franchise tag on him. And the Bears said, "Get out of here, kid. You bother me."
Yeah, I can't see teams doing that to anyone, really. But yeah, go ahead.
No one has been successful in requesting this. No one. So, question 1, and this is just a quick hit. Do you ever think in the next 5 to 10 years, because eventually it'll happen because the NFLPA will threaten to strike or some stupid shit. Do you think in the next 5 to 10 years a rookie will be successful in asking for a no tag clause and getting one?
No.
Short answer, no.
There you go. And the reason I wanted a short answer there is because there's a part 2 to this, which fills in Craig's void. With him being signed, and they also signed the running back, Rome Odunze. It takes me a while to get used to names. He's a wideout. Okay, you're right. It says right on my screen he's a wideout. For some reason, I thought he was a running back. That's stupid of me. With the 2 of them being signed, that leaves only 2 first-round picks unsigned, and both of them belong to Minnesota. And one of them is J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback they drafted.
Because they have no one, so I don't know what they're waiting for.
Should the Miami? Okay, Jesus, I can't have a pregame beer in the future.
What kind of beer was that?
It was just a road to ruin. It wasn't anything fancy.
Well, you made it. You're ruined.
I ruined. Should Minnesota be worried that they don't have their presumptive starter?
I think Justin Jefferson should be worried if he cares about his stats. Now that he has that giant contract, he may not be as worried. But if he cares about his stats, he should be worried.
And before we get to Cinch's answer, just so you know, if McCarthy doesn't play, which I can't imagine he's going to hold out. That's stupid. But you know what the solution is, right? It's Sam Darnold.
That's right.
Sam
Maybe he'll finally
Darnold
get his
is
chance.
the presumptive starter. Cinch, is Minnesota worried because they haven't signed J.J. McCarthy yet?
Well, I'm not sure Sam Darnold isn't better than McCarthy, but let's just put that to the side.
I agree.
Should they worry? No. All of these contracts, you're slotted into where you were drafted. It's not like he could hold out for $40 million a season. He's going to get a very small between this and this amount. He is probably waiting for Caleb Williams' contract. Maybe he was asking for the same guaranteed money.
Ooh.
I doubt he would get it, but that's what he was waiting for. Also, Caleb Williams, when they handed him the pen to sign the contract, he fumbled it because that's what he does.
Wow.
Wow.
And Sean just kicked a chair.
Sean, I will
to
say this once again. Sean does not listen to this podcast.
He listened last week and then came on our chat and yelled at you.
I'm going to say it again. He doesn't listen to this podcast.
I think without even listening to the podcast, he kicked the chair.
Probably.
He just knew.
Yeah, well, because he's a Bears fan, so yeah,
and a Mets fan,
a fair
so
assessment.
he kicks a lot of chairs.
Hey!
Hey, listen, the Mets are surging, homie.
They
Whether
are.
you like it or not, they are
as of
surging.
today, the Mets are a playoff team as of today.
As
Are
of
they
today,
really? They get into the wild card spot.
They have a 1-game lead on the final playoff wild card spot.
Who are they leading?
Everybody. I mean,
the Nationals.
The 3 wild card teams in the National League are the Braves, Cardinals, Mets. After that, there's about 6 teams that are 3 games out.
Fuck you,
less.
Braves. There, I just wanted to tell somebody off. Fuck you, Braves. Okay, moving on. All right, so this is our rankings episode. Let's talk about QB rankings. The consensus rankings are in.
Dun, 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 dun.
All the contributors get to see is the actual results. They don't get to see what everybody else ranked. We do that live because I love the responses. So we're gonna go over our top, or we're gonna go over our picks in bunches and comment on them. Our top 3 in order are Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen. Technically, Hurts and Mahomes tied for first, but the power of alphabetical order gave Jalen Hurts the first spot.
Boo.
Since you ranked Jalen Hurts the lowest out of every contributor on this podcast, and by saying that, he ranked him 4th. It's not like he put him at like 26th, guys. But you have the biggest gap between Hurts and Mahomes. What makes you think Hurts isn't better than Mahomes or Allen?
Okay, well, I'm not saying Hurts is like the 20th ranked quarterback. He's still top 5 and very good.
Yep.
He is missing his center. That is, everyone will tell you the best center. He's going right to the Hall of Fame. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. So Kelsey retired. If you take away that tush push, that Philly nudge, whatever they want to call it, if you take that away and you put Saquon Barkley there, maybe Barkley gets some of those rushing touchdowns instead of Hurts. That by itself is enough to drop him down a spot or 2. And that's what my thinking was.
Fair.
Craig, you actually had Jalen Hurts at number 1 overall. What makes you think that he is going to be the number 1 quarterback in fantasy football this year?
His rushing talent. I think he's out of everyone. You could argue Josh Allen is good because he's tall and he dives for touchdowns, but I think Jalen Hurts, and yes, I think he's better than Lamar because as of right now, I feel like Lamar's lower half of his body is made with popsicle sticks. So that already puts him a notch above Lamar. So I just think for his rushing ability, he will be the top fantasy quarterback.
Let me jump in for a second.
Please.
You mentioned Lamar. Well, they signed Derrick Henry. So again, the same thing with Hurts. That might take away from 1 or 2 of Lamar Jackson's rushing touchdowns.
Derrick Henry, the I'm going to retire soon broken running back. Lamar is not watching.
Whoa, though.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say after the years of watching the Ravens, Lamar's not giving up that ball to a running back for as much as he carries the ball. There's no way that happens.
Let me say this. I do not know the name of the statistic, but last season, the team with the running back that had the most yards before contact was Baltimore. They averaged 3-point-something yards. So if you give Derrick Henry 3 yards to go before he gets hit, he is going to roll over people. Incidentally, alongside that, the team last season that had the worst yards before contact was the Tennessee Titans, Henry's former team.
Yep.
Yeah, because he's a broken running back. And you don't give running backs a second contract.
Division hater.
Period.
Okay, let's be clear about one thing. Derrick Henry had 1167 on the ground at a 4.2 yard per carry average last year. 12 touchdowns, and that's not touching receiving. Now, to Cinch's point, one of his best games was on October 1st against the Cincinnati Bengals in London. where the Bengals lost 27-3, and he had 122 yards at the touchdown.
In London?
It says NFL London games. All right, maybe that wasn't London. Okay, the game log page on ESPN is broken up weird. Okay, so the Indianapolis game. Okay, not in London. 22 carries for 122 yards for 5.5 yards per carry is not a broken back. Yeah. Well, the next week he only carried 11 times for 20 yards. Yep.
I don't know. I still don't see Lamar Jackson and Jalen Hurts giving up their rushing yards to broken running backs.
So here's the beautiful thing. Lamar Jackson doesn't call the plays.
Hey, running backs is next week. Let's talk quarterbacks.
You're right. I'm moving back on. But yeah, I'm not convinced. And you know what? And I say all this. I have Lamar Jackson rated lower than any of us. And I'm still not convinced that that's going to affect too much. All right. So that's our top three is Hurts, Mahomes, and Allen. Our next bracket, otherwise known as the, okay, where do you draft these people, is Lamar Jackson at 4. CJ Stroud moves up to 5. Everybody loves a piece of CJ Stroud. Jordan Love is at 6. Jared Goff is at 7. Dak Prescott at 8. Joe Burrow at 9. And Brock Purdy at 10. I'm gonna admit I made a mistake. Lamar Jackson should have been included in that top 4. It should have been Hurts, Mahomes, Allen, Jackson, that first conversation. So I want to kind of take Jackson out of this question for the contributors here. Consider CJ Stroud, Love, Goff, Prescott, Burrow, and Purdy. Where are you drafting these guys? Because I feel like this second tier after Hurts, Mahomes, Allen, Jackson is like all the same, and I'm not going to draft them early. So if you don't get one of the top 4, where are you drafting quarterback? Let's start with Cinch.
What's the word? I pass to Craig first, and then I'll go.
All right, he has decided to play. He has decided to pass, not play. He got offered player pass like Family Feud, and he passed to Craig. Craig, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, and Brock Purdy. Are any of these guys? These are your options, and you need a quarterback. What's the earliest you're picking one of these guys?
Depending on the rest of my team looks. I mean, I'm trying not to be biased because in our home league I already have one of these people that I'm keeping. But
oh, spoiler. We only get to keep one person in the home league, guys, so that's a spoiler.
So probably like if I want to try to get one of these 5 people, probably around 7-ish.
See, I think 7's high. Cinch, how early do you draft this quarterback group?
Okay, so I'll say this. If you're going to get Stroud, Love, Goff, I don't like Dak as much as others, and Purdy, I think you could be looking at as high as 4 and then tapering down further. Now, I didn't mention Burrow.
Yeah, so specifically, yeah.
This is my hot take.
20-second timeout, and here is Cinch's deferred hot take. And Craig, get a drink.
Put the ball gag in your mouth for a minute. Okay. I did not rank Joe Burrow.
How do you know he has a ball gag?
I didn't rank Burrow. I think the Joe Burrow we've seen in the past does not exist anymore.
He's dead.
I'm going to read a couple of quick little things to you. Burrow's injury is unique. No QB has had this kind of wrist injury in recent memory. It was speculated before that Burrow had a TFCC complex tear, but he had a scapholunate ligament complex tear, which is way worse.
Okay, 20-second timeout. You can't cite an injury if you can't pronounce it.
I've heard you say some of these guys' names.
Yeah, okay,
that's a valid point.
Fair enough. Withdrawn.
Leniency. Okay, per the doctor, the tear caused him to have poor blood supply in the wrist. Therefore, it was necessary to resort to treatment. However, the surgeon sought a second opinion from his colleague. He said, it's a bad injury to have. Invariably, always lead to some instability over time and arthritis at an early age. 80% of normal strength and range of motion is common. Hard to do dart throwing motion, which is kind of important for snapping the follow through when throwing a football.
Agreed.
It is my opinion that Joe Burrow will never complete a full season again. His instability in his wrist, do you remember what Mariota looked like when he had the problems with his elbow and he couldn't grip the ball quite
No,
right?
because no one watched Mariota play football.
Yeah, I try not to remember him.
Without Joe Burrow being the real Joe Burrow, no one will watch the Bengals again either.
That was not another beer opening. Go on.
When doing the rankings, I asked Britt, I said,
"Oh, don't drag me into this."
I said, I've got something that I'm afraid it's going to really pull down someone's ranking, but I feel strongly about this. He said, if that's what you feel, then do it.
I said, follow your gut.
Yes. Well, I like Burrow. I was right there with you, Craig, when they were in the Super Bowl rooting for them to win.
Bastard.
Unfortunately, when I read what I just read to you guys, that doesn't give me much hope. When you get hit and you fall down, you brace yourself with your hand. If he does that, he's going to have all kinds of injuries happen again. I don't think we see him get through a full season again. He's going to have constant problems.
Craig,
I would not draft Joe Burrow.
Craig, your response, and consider it from a fantasy standpoint.
It's a valid point. They just really have to hope their offensive line actually knows what they're doing this year, and he doesn't get hit as much. So we'll see.
But
I mean, if you want to draft him, draft him in best ball. I mean, that's probably a good idea.
That's a good spot.
Draft him as a backup. If you want to wait and he's there in like round 12 and draft him, you can do that too.
But see, he won't be because someone will always be high on him. And best ball is a great way to go. I'm not saying he could never have a good game again. I'm just saying every quarterback, if you have the best offensive line, is going to get pushed to the ground and tackled. And when you fall down, you brace yourself. And you brace yourself with your dominant hand, which is his right hand.
True.
I got bad feelings.
Bad vibes or bad vibes, kids?
Yeah.
Britt, what do you think?
He can be the Christian McCaffrey of quarterbacks.
So here's where I jump in with the math. Cinch's ranking of putting Joe Burrow. So our system is, I tell the contributors a minimum number of people to rank at each location. Some people, Sean, just ignore that and do like 3 times as many. So I usually get a list of like 75 wide receivers, 40 running backs. The rest of them will rank like 25 because it's all that matters. So our process is, if you don't rank a person, they get the lowest value you assign. Cinch ranks 25 quarterbacks for us this year. So Joe Burrow got a 26 rating in the system. That 26 rating from Cinch, I added in last. And for the record, took him from 5th to 9th in our composite rankings. So my question for Craig, because we already know how Cinch feels, these are the people that were passed because of Cinch's ranking. Would you take Joe Burrow over CJ Stroud?
This season? No.
Yeah, because we're talking redraft. Over Jordan Love.
Nah.
Over Jared Goff.
It's same as Love.
He's thinking. And we all know you hate Dak Prescott, so I'm not even going to ask you about the next one down. But those are the guys in there. So just to Cinch's point, Joe Burrow is a massive question mark right now. And Cinch's point, so one of the things Cinch said is that the arthritis or the decay sets in early. What if the decay is 2025, 2026? We don't know. I'll say this. I still put Burrow at 6 myself. But if Burrow comes out and is world beater this next year, and everybody's putting Burrow in the top 3, I sure as hell ain't, for the exact reasons that Cinch just brought up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of people, provided, no one knows how his injury is, but a lot of people who get paid to do this, we don't, quote unquote experts, they're all predicting he passes for well over 4,000 yards. So we'll just see what happens. I think for me, fantasy-wise, I don't think, because it kind of killed me last year, I don't really think I could draft Bengals anymore because my brain gets too fogged with wanting to keep them in, and it makes you make bad decisions when wanting to, like bench someone.
You become a homer with football in the groin.
You do. It happens.
Yeah, that's why I don't draft Patriots anymore.
See?
There you go.
See?
Well, that plus they all stink. But I mean,
it's like you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna draft them, and then you're like, oh, they're having a bad month, I should take them out. But then you're like, they could be good at any time. So yeah.
All right, let's continue on with the rankings because believe it or not, we're already starting to run out of time. So that was our second tier. Our third tier starts with number 11, Kyler Murray.
Duh.
Number 12. Hey, settle down. Craig did rank Murray lower than everybody else. Number 12 is Tua Tagovailoa. 13 is Anthony Richardson. 14 is Justin Herbert. Cinch, call me. He's available in Dynasty. Just saying. Number 15 is Trevor Lawrence. And number 16 is Jaden Daniels. That's our third tier. Gentlemen, really quick, 30 seconds or less, who and why Kyler, Tua, Anthony Richardson, Herbert, Lawrence, or Daniels. You're in round 10 and you need a quarterback. Who you trusting? Let's start with Craig here. Who are you trusting on that list? I'm guessing not Murray based on your response.
So it's not Murray for a variety of reasons. And yes, I know who they drafted at receiver, but that doesn't really change.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Him.
Well, I won't get there. I'll be away, but I plan on leaving you guys a voicemail to express that was, yeah. All right, go on.
In the last couple seasons, I normally would have said Herbert, but right now he has no receivers. Like
you're not helping my trade here.
No receivers.
I
think out of all those players before he got hurt, I was really impressed with Anthony Richardson, so I would take Richardson.
Cinch, you got to draft one of those guys. It's like round 10. Who are you looking at?
All right, I'll go quick. Kyler Murray has been good before. He's been a top 3 or top 5 quarterback in fantasy. He's got a very good tight end, very good running back, and I don't know, we'll have to wait and see, but a world beater wide receiver. So Murray's the guy I would go with. Just really quickly, Herbert's lack of receivers, Jaden Daniels is an unknown, and Anthony Richardson has played 4 games. Tua has the Grim Reaper hanging on side of him. So, I mean, none of these other guys really jump out at me as guys I would want to have. I guess that's why they are the third tier.
Yeah. Tua is a really odd anomaly. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a spoiler alert. In the wide receiver rankings, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle both appear in the top 20 across the entire league. And you know who their quarterback is? Tua.
Yes.
So what we're telling our audience is Tua is not a top 10 QB, but he has a bona fide wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 on his team, which I think only one other team in the entire league has. So we're sitting there saying Tua can't be trusted, but we can trust his receivers. Doesn't that seem like a contradiction?
Slightly.
All right, go ahead, Craig.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say slightly. The biggest thing with Tua is, again, like we said the last 2 seasons, and I know he was okay last year, but yeah, another concussion and his career's over. So, and because the problem is whoever replaces Tua, if he gets hurt, they still have their receivers, and someone has to catch the ball. And both of those receivers are pretty good.
So, are you telling me Mike White isn't up to the challenge?
Mike White is an incredible quarterback. Is he as good as Tua?
Oh my God, I set Craig off.
Is he as good as Tua? Debatable. But he is an amazing backup quarterback, and if he had a play, I don't think either one of the receivers would have any issues with stats.
And who knew Mike White was Craig's trigger word right there? Like, I said Mike White, and Chris, let me tell you about Mike White.
I wanted the Jets to make him the starter, and that didn't happen.
Cinch, what do you think about that? That Tua is number 12 on our list, but both of his wide receivers are inside the top 20.
Well, Tua is number 12 because he had a good season last year, a good, solid season. He is a good, solid quarterback. He could easily be 12, or he could be 25. Let me tell you something about White Mike. He could be the starting quarterback for a couple of teams in this league. You can't tell me that Gardner Minshew is better than him. They're the same guy.
Whoa.
Don't tell Adam that.
Go after the stash.
Has anyone seen the two of them in the same place at the same time? No, they haven't. And neither has Fitzpatrick, but he retired. I'm just saying. Tua is good, okay? He's fine. But you know what? If I threw a pass to Tyreek Hill and he caught it for a 3-yard gain and turned it into an 80-yard touchdown, no one's going to say, hey, Cinch is a great quarterback. I'm just saying. Those receivers are ranked where they are because those are really good receivers.
So I just had the presence of mind, even 2.5 beers in, to click the camera button when, Cinch went after Gardner Minshew because I'm like, whoa. Okay, I'll send it to you guys later. But, all right. We're running out of time, so we got to keep going with the list. Number 17 is Kirk Cousins. Kirk with a K.
You like
just
that?
So you know, on both end. Yeah. Number 18 is Caleb Williams. Number 19 is Matt Stafford. Caleb Williams, is he the highest ranked rookie we have? I think he is. Yeah, I think he is.
Well, Jaden Daniels is 16.
You're right. I apologize. Okay, so Caleb Williams is the second rookie to appear on this list. Stafford at 19, Baker Mayfield at 20. Craig is the only one who ranked him. Oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. I was about to throw Craig under the bus, but Sean also ranked Baker Mayfield low. Aaron Rodgers is at 21. Derek Carr at 22. Geno Smith at 23. Deshaun Watson, who I didn't realize wasn't suspended anymore, is at 24. And Will Levis is at 25. That list right there is my desperation list. If I'm using one of these guys as my starter in 2024, I've got significant problems. Of these guys, Cousins, Caleb Williams, Matt Stafford, Baker Mayfield, Aaron Rodgers, Derek Carr, Geno Smith, Deshaun Watson, and Will Levis. One of them is ride or die for you because you have no other option. Tell me which one it is. We're going to start with Cinch, and I got to run to the restroom, so take some time with this. It's desperation, but which one are you using? Go for it.
I don't even think it's desperation. I'll tell you. I'll take Stafford with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. I'll take him. If I can't have him, I'll take Aaron Rodgers. I'll go ahead. I'll go out on that limb. The Jets have everything lined up. You want to talk desperation? My desperation pick, Craig, is Billy Jeans. Will Levis for the Titans has everything a quarterback could ask for to succeed. Now he just needs to do it. They drafted him a left tackle. He's got a couple of old wide receivers. He's got, all right, granted, he doesn't have a running back, but, what are you going to do? He's got tight ends, he's got wide receivers, and they drafted offensive line help for him. That's my desperation guy. I don't think much of Baker. I don't think much of Geno Smith. Kirk Cousins, at best, is going to be what? Maybe the 10th ranked quarterback. At worst, he plays half a season, and Penix plays half a season. So, Caleb Williams, I'm not ranking any quarterback where I'm drafting them in their rookie season. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'll take someone else.
I thought you were going to say you weren't going to draft a bear.
No, I don't care about that. But I mean, I'm not going to use a rookie quarterback. I'm just not going to do it. And if I'm wrong and they go out and they have a great season, I tip my hat. Good job. Way to go.
Right.
I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Greg, your thoughts?
Out of those guys at the end of the list, I had him last year and he was actually pretty decent. I think I would just stay with Geno Smith. He finally figured out how to be a quarterback in the NFL, and it seemed to work for him last year, so I think it's just going to continue this year. So I think he's the best one out of that bottom group.
Did you win the league?
No, because I didn't sell my soul to draft the Dallas trade for the Dallas receiver. So no.
I didn't do that.
No, someone else did.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, wait a minute. I think I still have my soul.
If I did, I would have won.
If I was going to sell my soul, it would be more for a Met win than it would be for a fantasy football league.
Yeah, really. I mean, Cinch has seen the Patriots win multiple times. He's won multiple times. We haven't seen a Met win in 40 years almost.
30,
Has it been 40 years?
86?
86 was 38 years ago.
Yeah. Hey, they were in the World Series in 2000.
And 2015, too.
And 2015.
Yeah.
Never forget the story of how I was dragged to the Halloween parade in New York City. And I'm sitting there, and I can literally see the Empire State Building about a mile to my left in orange and blue. And all I can think as my wife is enjoying the New York City Halloween parade is the game's on. And that's when I spied in the crowd a guy in a blue and orange jacket staring at his cell phone. So I casually kind of shifted over like 10 feet to my right and went, "Do you have the game?" And he went, "Let's go Mets." And I went, 7 line forever. And now he's my new best friend. And my wife is like, "Oh my God, look at the great costumes." And I'm like, "Yeah, this is great." Oh, that was a great opportunity there, wasn't it? So, yeah. All right, let's round out because we are totally out of time. Our rankings, we have Russell Wilson at 27th. This is the also ran section of the program, folks. 28th is JJ McCarthy because he hasn't signed anywhere and nobody knows what he's going to do. 29 is Gardner Minshew. Number 30 is Bo Nix. Number 31 is Bryce Young. Number 32 is Taysom Hill. And number 33 is Drake May. Here's my question for you guys, 30 seconds each. How the hell did we rank Drake May behind a guy who's technically a tight end? Craig, go for it.
Because Taysom Hill's proved that he can be a very valuable fantasy player on your team and get you points in multiple ways. And one of those positions is quarterback.
Singe, how do we rank Hill ahead of May?
I'd just like to say I'm not the homer. I did not rank Drake May anywhere. I left him off my list.
That is correct. Can confirm.
What league is Taysom Hill still listed as a quarterback? I've got to figure in every league he's a tight end.
He's listed as a tight end and a quarterback.
Okay, so then he should. Oh, as both?
Yes.
Okay.
So
well,
you have
Yahoo allows that kind of thing. Yeah, and that's where it gets messy.
Look, he'll get you points. I'm not saying that Taysom Hill is useless. It's just if Drake May plays, what would you say, 8 games? Isn't he going to outscore what Taysom Hill is going to give for a whole season?
I think May's going to play a lot more than that. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, but what I'm saying is Taysom Hill isn't going to get that many points. He'll have 2 weeks during the season that he gives you a 25. Other than that, he's giving you a 7, a 6, a 5. I'm saying if Drake May plays and he's the 25th best quarterback in the league, he's going to outscore what Taysom Hill gives you. If he plays 8 games, I don't understand that Taysom Hill. Whatever. I don't understand Deshaun Watson getting ranked. I don't see how he plays and is good.
Oh yeah, I can confirm that. Yeah. Well, none of us have Deshaun Watson in the top 20. We have him outside the top 20. So I think what you have to realize is the next guy down is Will Levis, and that's kind of a huge cliff. That's a cliff that loses you a game on The Price is Right, in my mind. You know what I mean? You get the guy
little Alpine. Yep, the Alpine.
Yeah, that
game.
guy.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You two gentlemen, let's say in the top 10 ranked quarterbacks, you have one of those guys as your starter. So the top 10 are off the limits. From 11 on, who do you want as your backup?
Oh, for me, that's easy. It's Tua. There's too much talent in that team. It's just a matter if he stays healthy, and he was healthy last year, so I'm not worried about it. I'm a big fan of making sure somebody survives a season, and Tua largely survived last season. So it's Tua for me, no question. Craig?
Let me jump in real quick. Did you see Tua's new body? He dropped a lot of weight.
I refuse to pay attention to that after we saw guys jump out of pools.
Yeah, but this isn't, hey, I'm in the best shape of my life.
Or playing golf shirtless.
He dropped about 15 to 20 pounds of muscle because he wanted to be more flexible.
I'm fine with that.
Last season he bulked up and he did the Taekwondo or whatever so he could learn to take a fall, whatever that is.
Sure.
And it must have worked, right? I'm just saying he lost. He's not super tall. He has a small frame.
Mm-hmm.
At some point in time, he's going to get that heavy hit. And the only thing I think of when you mention his name is him laying on the ground with his fingers all messed up by his face when he got concussed. That's all I think of when you say Tua.
Fair.
And that's not fair because he's been really good, but that's what I think of.
I mean, that's what's still in my head. Like I'm just waiting for him to get hit, and like it's just gonna be bad.
But to be fair, Craig, you pay attention to injury history more closely than anyone I know.
Yep.
So, all right. So I'm sticking with Tua. Answer Sis's question.
Who do I take as a backup?
Yes. In the 11 through 20 rounds. I'm sorry, rankings. Who's your backup in 11 through 20? I know who it is. I know. I'm waiting for it.
See, you thought I was going to say Joe
I know
Burrow,
it.
didn't you?
No.
Burrow's
We have
top
Burrow
10.
at 9. We have Burrow at 9. So this is the 11
So
through 20.
who's 10?
10 is Brock Purdy. So we're talking Murray, Tua, Anthony Richardson, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Jaden Daniels, Kirk Cousins, Caleb Williams, Matt Stafford, or Baker Mayfield. You got to take one. I know one that's absolutely. Let's just be honest. Baker Mayfield's off your list.
Yes.
You hate Baker Mayfield with a passion that will never die. So it's really a choice of 9.
Let me give you his answer before he gives it to you.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
I'll bet you he's going to take Aaron Rodgers at 21.
I'll extend to that. Okay.
I mean, if he's there, like, as a backup, I mean, sure.
You take him over Trevor Lawrence.
Over
Keep
Herbert.
in mind, I know all your rankings.
Yeah.
You have Lawrence at 8. Personally,
I do. I know.
Honestly, I thought your answer was going to be Kirk Cousins because you have a soft spot for his potential.
It would have been. I mean, I just don't know when he's gonna come back officially. So that was my only hesitation.
I think he starts the season. I'm not worried about him starting the season. I'm just worried about the fact that they drafted his successor the year they gave him a contract. Rather,
there is that, and then like I picked before. I mean, there's always Geno Smith. So
Craig, would you take Will Levis or Baker Mayfield?
Can I take Taysom Hill?
No.
Wow.
It's one of those two. They're your backup. Who are you taking?
Can he leave the spot open?
No. You have to have one of the two.
You got 30 seconds. We're way over time.
Come on, Baker or Billy Jeans? Who you picking?
God, Will Levis.
Billy Jean is not Baker's lover. All right, that's what you get when you're 3 beers in. All right, we are so over time. So really quick, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, C.J. Stroud is our top 5. Jordan Love, Jared Goff, Dak Prescott, Joe Burrow, and Brock Purdy round out our top 10. The next 10 are Kyler Murray, Tua, Anthony Richardson, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Jaden Daniels, Kirk Cousins, Caleb Williams, Matt Stafford, and then Baker Mayfield comes in at 20. Number 21 is Aaron Rodgers. 22, Derek Carr. Geno Smith, Deshaun Watson, and Will Levis comes in at 25. Daniel Jones, Russell Wilson, J.J. McCarthy, Gardner Minshew, Bo Nix at 30, Bryce Young at 31, Taysom Hill at 32, and 33 is Drake May. Round out the desperation block. That's going to be my final thought for tonight. Cinch, you got about a minute and a half. Give me your final thought.
Okay, here's my final thought. Last year, when we talked quarterbacks, I said, go up high, draft one of the top 2 or 3 guys. It'll be worth it. Quarterback is that important. This year, I say, you could fade back a little bit. We don't have to go crazy. There's a lot of guys on this list. I think there's a lot of guys that can give you mediocre to a good quarterback score. So if you don't get the top 2 or 3 or 4 guys, you don't have to worry about it. You could draft a guy in round 10 and get similar value to who's going to go in round 4 or 5. So I have a different position that I would push and say you need to go to early this year.
Go early this year. Okay. You all know I've been on record. I think if you don't get one at the top 3 or 4, you got to wait. But that's just me. So Cinch and I are taking drastically different approaches. But hey, he won the championship, as he has been pointing out throughout the podcast, and I have not. Craig, final thought. You got 90 seconds.
Final thought for me is, like Britt said, I do pay attention to injuries. When it comes to quarterbacks, definitely pay attention to injuries, like Cinch had to point out for about 5.5 minutes. Other than that, also point out to injuries to offensive linemen or replacements in offensive line, like Jalen Hurts having a new center, which Cinch also mentioned. Because that can make a big difference, especially so pay attention in preseason.
Okay, so I just want to point out that Cinch's diatribe, I'm going to say Cinch's manifesto on why Joe Burrow wasn't ranked, I thought was very studious and based in fact.
It was.
Fact-based opinion.
Yes, there you go.
That's
so you
not a
cram
thing.
That. 93% of the people that disagree with you, Craig. So, you know what people don't disagree with, though, is leaving us good feedback. We would love to hear from you. The easiest way to do that is to email us at the Fignuts podcast, and you can reach that at three beers in, fignutsdfs@gmail.com, or go on Facebook and look up the Football Fignuts podcast. You can reach us either way. You can also help us out by going on whatever podcast index you found, most likely Apple, and just leave us a review. We would love to hear from you either way, and we would love to get your feedback. Just don't leave us a review that just says "ew."
Oh yeah, remember that one? That's classic.
It's been 3 years, and I still cite it because it's just there. So,
I would like to know if whoever leaves feedback agrees with my thoughts on Burrow or thinks along Craig's way of thinking that everything is Pollyanna beautiful, no worries, Burrow is our hero, everything's good.
Way to out yourself, Boomer. Pollyanna? Nobody knows Pollyanna anymore. That's from like the 60s.
Children, pick up a thesaurus.
Read a book. Okay, but Cinch's point is very valid. Email us the fignutsdfs@gmail.com and let us know what you think about Joe Burrow. We will include it in the roundtable if we get enough responses. So reach out to us, fignutsdfs@gmail.com there. Gentlemen, QBs are in the books. We are on the record as saying who we like and who we hate. Next week, Cinch gets the week off. And we'll bring in Sean. Deep breath. I'm going to need even more beer
and
for Sean.
He's gonna tell you about quarterbacks because we're talking about running backs. But he's gonna tell you about quarterbacks.
Right. Let me tell you about the quarterbacks. I didn't get to talk. That's what roundtables are for, son. Let me tell you, the roundtables this year are going to be lit. I can't wait because I'm going to miss wide receiver and the tight end kicker defensive kickoff, which is why Cinch gets this week and next week off, because Cinch is going to do like 4 weeks straight.
Yes.
I'll be practicing next week to be ready.
Good.
He'll be in his truck talking against Sean and going, you know why you're wrong, Sean? And that's absolutely fine with me.
Well, you know how you'll know if Sean listens to the podcast, if he has opinions on Joe Burrow.
That's true.
If he doesn't bring it up, he didn't listen.
Let's make it even easier. Sean, if you were listening to this podcast, I want you to respond in the group chat with just the word rutabaga. Nothing else. Send us a text with the word rutabaga, and we will know you listened to this podcast.
And if you didn't listen,
we'll know.
Pollyanna.
And tomorrow we get a text that says Pollyanna eats rutabagas.
It's funny.
Thank you so much for stepping in tonight. We really appreciate it. We will see you in 2 weeks for wide receivers while I'm on vacation. I really appreciate you stepping in for that too. So, Craig, I'll see you next week for you, me, Sean, and running backs.
Dun, 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 dun.
But until then, my name is Britt.
I'm Craig.
And I'm Cinch.
And we are the Football Fignuts Podcast. Hi, Deb.